Okay, here we go. Good evening, YouTube. Good evening, guys. Welcome to episode 18 of the FPL Family. Episode 18 of FPL Family. And it is back. FPL and the Premier League is back.
Thank goodness.
I'm not having any of this Nations League. I'm sorry. This Nations League, I'm not having it. Are you having it?
Well, we did play quite well on Monday night.
We did well. Apart from the fact England are now going to win, the Euros and the World Cup, of course, because we beat Spain in their own backyard for the first time in however many years.
Well, it was a birthday present for me, wasn't it?
It was absolutely. It's a good game. Yeah. To be fair, in that first half, England were very, very good. But on the whole, I'm not having this Nations League. It's just stop-start all the time with FPL, isn't it? What we got now? Another 4 weeks and then another international break. It's just I'd like to get a bit of rhythm into FPL, a bit of rhythm into the season. But anyway. Enough moaning. FPL is back. The Premier League is back. And I'm excited to be here. Looking forward to Gameweek 9. This is our Gameweek 9 preview video. And we have to start, guys, with two massive thank yous. And they are both to you guys. So thank you number one is 3,000 subscribers, which happened, I think, yesterday. So when you think back to the summer, I think, we were absolutely buzzing to be on 1,000 subscribers, weren't we? Which more or less happened, I think, in the penultimate game week or the last game week of last season, so game week 37, 38. And then we obviously didn't have a lot of traffic over the summer, obviously, until the game started launching again. And we were buzzing to be on 1K. So here we are, 9 game weeks in, and we've already trebled that. We're at 3,000 subscribers. So guys, thank you very much to you guys for subscribing to the channel. And if you're not already, go hit that subscribe button and go hit that like button. We would love you to join us on a regular basis on Sundays at 8 PM, which is when we do our normal game week reaction. And then it's usually a Thursday now, isn't it?
It seems to become
be a Thursday. Yeah. It's tending to be a Thursday because Wednesday, I'm busy and it's a bit early in the week. Friday's a bit late. No, I'm busy. I'm busy Wednesday nights. But
it's
Thursdays,
just the way you said it. I'm busy.
Oh my god! So literally, I've been so busy. What with work and FPL show and stuff going on at the moment that I've not done anywhere near as many notes as you. I'm looking down at your notes right now and thinking, you are so well prepared for this live stream. It's absolutely unreal. And
I've had 2 weeks to be prepared.
It's absolutely unreal, the amount of notes that are going on there. I've done some notes on my phone. Look, that's it. But quality over quantity is what we like to go for.
Excuse me, I think you'll find that tonight I've got some...
You've got some corkers.
Proper old school Sam stats for you coming up tonight.
Corkers. Well, I'm looking forward to those. As well as I'm looking forward to the jammy picks. So I put it out there to the community earlier what your jammy picks, guys, would be for the week. So I've got some very, very good picks from the community. And I know that you've got a couple of jammy picks lined up, which will be useful to see. We need to have
it might be.
Could be. I don't know how the jammy picks are doing this year, but not great, I don't think. Not great. But so we'll be looking at jammy picks, we'll be looking at captains and transfers and all that good stuff, as well as looking at the fixtures. But 2 things it was. First was 3K subscribers. The second thing, guys, was the shirt. It's here. It's on. Guys, thank you so much. For those of you that, if you're new to our live streams and didn't catch our last live stream, which was some 2 weeks or so ago now, right? Or maybe even 10 days ago.
it feels like it was about last year, to be honest.
It does feel like ages ago, doesn't it? So much Nations League going on. But in our last live stream,
Isn't it beautiful?
I love that colour. I think the colour's amazing.
What is that?
No, it's a lovely shirt. It's the one you wanted and it looks lovely.
It's better than yours.
Nice. Oh, what?
It's a lot better than yours. I mean, it's boring.
It's the famous red.
But it's boring.
Come on, we're not having this. We're not going to fall out over football shirts on
we
live
might.
on air.
Depends if you say we're going to lose to West Ham later as well, doesn't it?
Oh, I've got some good thoughts about the West Ham Spurs game, guys. Some good thoughts. But anyway, thank you guys
thank you so much
for funding effectively Sam's birthday present. We've got it. We haven't yet got hashtag FPL Family on the back, and that's simply because the shop in which you bought it, the machine was flipping broken, wasn't it? So we are going to get that done. We're going to get hashtag FPL Family, if indeed you can get a hashtag, on the back of the shirt.
I didn't ask them that because they said it wasn't working. I didn't ask.
Yeah, it was kind of like that was the end of it, wasn't it? But we got the shirt, we got that, and then it was like, well, the machine's broken, so not much you can do about that. But guys, we will get that. We will get that sorted for the back of the shirt. But for now, there it is. The birthday present that you guys paid for and sponsored for. So guys, thank you so much for that.
It's going to bring luck.
You think it's going to be like, well, you're going to need it. Spurs are going to need it with these fixtures coming up. I'm telling you, absolutely going to need it.
Are you alright?
Look, listen, I'm not going to be harsh on Spurs this week, but I'm going to be talking about the difficulty of the fixtures. I'm talking about the thin spread of your squad. So I don't want any.
What is this?
I don't want any.
It's not my birthday anymore, so you're going to be horrible to me. Is that what it is?
I don't want any Spurs goggles going on. I don't want any of that. I want some nice, honest Spurs talk. Jan Vertonghen out. Although I did hear today that Eriksen and Dembele are back.
Yeah, so rein it in a bit.
So rein it in. Okay, right, there we go, right. Guys, as usual, we've waffled for too long already. Let's go and say hello to a few people. There on the left-hand side is our Twitter. For those of you guys that are on Twitter and not following us, at FPL Family on Twitter. Don't you clean your glasses on my shirt. I
didn't want to do it on mine.
Well, don't do it on mine. Cheeky. Bloody hell. Glasses on the famous shirt, the famous red. Goodness me. I can't believe the cheek of it. And now I've lost my train of thought. At FPL Family. At FPL Family on Twitter and at FPL Family on Instagram. For those of you that are not following us on either of those media, please go and find us on there. I do the Twitter, Sam does the Insta, and you can go and find us on your favourite social media. So let's crack on with saying hello to people. So let's see who else is in. So Rastafried Rice is here. How are you doing? And when it is in 3-0 West Ham incoming.
And when it go away.
Absolutely brilliant. 3-0 West Ham.
Where's Jeff? Get him banned.
I've got Arnautovic in my side, so I'll be looking forward to that.
Time out for you, Amunet. Time out.
Time out. El Stato is here. Glad the international break is done. Yeah, I'm with you on that, mate. I'm with you on that. Jamal is here. How you doing, Jamal? Carry256. All the regulars are in. Anas Salah is in. Hi from Egypt. Hi, Anas. How are you doing?
Nice.
Chris Cross is here. How you doing? Ian Karthik. Shikrant is here. MU Fan TV. The jersey is here, MU Fan TV says. The jersey is here. It is indeed. Josh Oram is in. Spurs will beat West Ham 2-1.
Josh, you can stay.
Oh, what is this? You can stay or go, depending on the
the cat's just gone mad.
The cats have decided to go crazy again. Sam, your shirt is ugly. Oh!
Who said that? Because they definitely need a time out.
That is Jamal Rice, timed out.
Jeffers?
Timed out. Can the mods,
Where's
please?
the mods, please?
The mods, please. Get all over this. FPL Lawyer is in. How are you doing, Lawyer? Matthew Hall is here. Adam Diori, I think is how you say that name. Sorry if I've said that wrong, Adam. He's saying, first time in a long time watching the live stream. So welcome back, Adam. Welcome back. Hit that sub button and then go and hit that little notification bell because that'll tell you every time that we're live. Give you a little push notification.
Well, there was one, I wish I could remember who it was now, but someone on Instagram, when I posted about how close we were to the 3k subs, commented, I'm about to go and like it with my other YouTube because he had 2 YouTube channels, so he'd already subbed with one, so he's subbed with the other one now, so happy days.
Perfect.
Extra brownie points for that.
FPL Cadet is here. How are you doing, FPL Cadet? FPL Tips is here. Now, for you guys that like FPL and like YouTube, go and check out at FPL... Well, is FPL Tips here in the live chat? Let me go and see what FPL Tips is. Sorry, FPL Tips. I should know your handle off by heart, but I don't, other than I know that you're FPL Tips. So let's go and find his Twitter page. So guys, go and check out... Oh, okay, at FPL Tips. Okay, with a Z, not an S. So FPL Tips is just getting into the streaming.
We watched him the other night.
Yeah, very, very good. So go and check him out. Loads and loads of good content on there, as well as Andy and Nimfreer and JNO and all those guys and Kurt.
The Wildcats.
Big up to the YouTube FPL community, and FPL Tips is the newest member of that. So go check him out. Let's get back to the homepage. Here we go. Back to home. Cool. Someone's having a good night in. Look at this. There's Paul having a few beers. Let's go back to our page. Never know quite what you're going to get. On the Twitter. That was a bit dangerous, that wasn't it? Go back to our profile's a good thing. Let's see. Nikhil is here. Kane hat-trick incoming, Nikhil says. Oh, goodness me.
Highest scorer away from home this season.
Oh, God, here we go. What is this? Random stat
random.
attack.
It's not random.
Kane most away goals this season.
Truth. It's just the truth.
Okay, all right.
So,
Keeping him or?
Yeah, keeping him.
You are keeping him?
Of course.
Oh, wow, okay.
We're going to win.
Goodness me.
3-0, Kane hat-trick incoming. You've just been told that.
Okay. You are on one tonight. You've been looking forward to this all day, haven't you? Look at the notes. Look how, the shirt and everything. You're just in the mood, aren't you? I can tell. You've got the stats.
I'm proper buzzing for tonight.
You're buzzing for FPL being back.
Can't wait for the Premier League on Saturday. I mean, I'm not being funny, but what a rubbish weekend it was without FPL.
Oh yeah, it's rubbish, wasn't it?
It was rubbish. Wait till Monday night. Rubbish.
Yeah.
Friday night and Monday night.
No good. Jasper is in. How you doing, Jasper? Eddie Gooner is here. He is saying what to do with Mane. Yeah, we're going to come to that a bit later on. It's definitely not a thumbs up from me, the way the international break has gone. Oh, Liverpool have had some serious injuries. Well, we've had some injuries, and we've had some injuries. I mean, Mane's thumb does appear to be broken, but Salah does appear to be fit. So
but they might all be like Milner and just be able to recover from like a broken leg in like 5 minutes.
Wasn't he? Milner's an absolute machine, isn't he? But Keita looks properly injured. Van Dijk had to come back, but maybe that's a precaution. I don't know. So we'll be talking about the Liverpool injury list a bit later on when we come to review the fixtures. Who else is here? Danny Norris, Matty Birch, loads of you guys in. We've got 203 people in, guys. So thank you very much for joining. Go and hit that sub button. Go and hit that like button. We'd love you to do that. And then follow us at FPL Family on Twitter, left-hand side. So where shall we start? So here are the fixtures for Game Week 9. Where do you want to start with it? Should we start right at the top there with the lunchtime kickoff, Chelsea versus Manchester United? Should we start there, do you think? A good place to start. For me, that looks to be the fixture of the game week. And before we start, we should absolutely remember what I always forget, which is the polls. Guys, go and check out the little eye in the top right-hand corner.
Someone's just said polls, haven't they? That's reminded you.
No, that Matthew Hall did. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Matthew, for saying polls. Top right-hand corner of the stream, click the little eye. The questions for this evening are clearly Game Week 9 captain, so who are you going to captain, and all your usual suspects are in there. So go ahead and check out who do you want to pick as your captain for this week. Must have premium defender. Now, there's a pretty good chance that you're going to have 2, maybe 3 of these guys going into the game week, if not over the longer term. But I want to know, if you could only have one, which one would you have? So we're going to try and get a ranking for who's going to be, the most must-have premium defender. And I think it's Trippier, Mendy, Alonso, Robertson, and Alonso, Robertson, Trippier, Mendy, and one other. I can't remember. So who are the must-have premium defenders? Question number 3, KDB in, yes or no? He's coming back, looks to be returning from fitness.
Late fitness test though, isn't it?
Late fitness test. This weekend maybe a little bit early. But what do you guys think? Is it going to be KDB in or KDB out? And you guys in the live chat saying, I've put Alonso in there twice. So that's why I can't figure out who the fifth premium defender is in the poll, because Alonso's in there twice. It's Robbo.
You've got one
Robbo,
job.
Mendy, Trippier, Alonso or Alonso. I don't know.
Do you really like Alonso then?
I don't think I'm ever going to be good at polls. I just need to just give it up. It's just awful, isn't it?
Can you delete him? Can you delete him now?
No, because if I go in there now, it'll screw up the stream. And just, guys, the second Alonso on that list, just ignore him, okay? We're going to go with...
Otherwise, we're going to have to add the Alonso numbers together. That's what we'll do.
Oh, it'll never be right, will it? I just can't get it right. I haven't even got to put any thought into these polls. These are polls that the guys have, said on Twitter. This is what we should talk about. So I'm being spoon-fed my polls. I still can't get it right. Absolutely incredible. Question number 4 in the polls. Best £9 million forward. So I want to know whether Vardy, Lacazette, or who else is in there? Vardy, Lacazette, or there's one other in there. I can't remember.
Well, you put someone in there twice.
No, I definitely didn't put someone in there twice. But there's 3 options there for the best £9 million forward. So go in there and vote for who you want. Right, let's move on from the polls because they're rubbish. Fixtures for this game week: Chelsea versus Firmino. Thank you, guys. It was Firmino. Chelsea versus Manchester United. Then, how do you see this game going from an FPL perspective? Are United going to rock up the Stamford Bridge, park that bus, stick Herrera on Hazard as a man mark and completely ruin the game?
No.
And play for a point? Or are Chelsea going to do the business again? What do you make of it?
So Chelsea are going to do the business 100%. United have got not a hope in hell. United haven't won at Stamford Bridge in the last 8 meetings there. Okay. Would you like some more stats about this?
Here we go. I love it when you get on a stats run.
I've got loads tonight. I'm buzzing about it.
I can see.
You can tell I've been so excited about doing this stream because I've done loads of research. So United have actually only won once at Stamford Bridge in the last 16 years, and that was back in October 2012. There is no chance that this current United team will win at Stamford Bridge this weekend.
Goodness me.
This season so far, Chelsea have had 12% more possession than they had under Conte last season. So they're just playing United off the park.
All right.
Would you like some stats on Hazard as well? I've got loads of them.
I don't just want stats overload. I'd like to see what the guys are saying as well. So Will Hugo is saying, no way in hell United keep a clean sheet these days. No certainty of their centre-backs under Mourinho. Mm-hmm. I have just seen that Luke Shaw signed a new 5-year deal. So,
and then did you see that one where somebody said, Luke Shaw's... And then he dropped a pen on his foot and he's now injured for 5 years or something.
Okay.
It was like a funny... Like, he dropped the pen while signing. It made me chuckle earlier.
Well, I think we've got to... And to be fair, most of you guys in the live chat are saying it's looking like it's Chelsea. But as Anwin is quite rightly saying, never underestimate Jose. Adam is saying United won't win, but Jose might just play for the 0-0. I'm with you guys there. I'm with you guys. I'm expecting a home win too, but It's the lunchtime kickoff, the first kickoff after an international break. Some of the players will be coming back late, etc., etc. Do I fancy United to go there and get a point? I don't know if I do, but it's not beyond the realms of possibility that they do that.
The thing is, I think for me, the way that Chelsea are playing this season, this new system that they've got in operation, I cannot see Mourinho parking the bus with them. They are so much more forward thinking than they have been in the past.
They've actually, so there's only a nice stat that actually I've got in my notes.
I wonder if it's one of the same ones
that
I've written down. Let's have a look.
So only 3 Premier League clubs have shipped more goals than Manchester United so far this season. So we're sitting here talking about will he park the bus? Will he man mark Hazard? Will he kill the game? Well, he might park the bus, but
teams are they?
Well, he might well park the bus, but the reality is the bus is not as watertight as it used to be, and Chelsea have absolutely got the players that can get through that bus and into the back of the net. So,
Chelsea have had. So one of the other stats I had about Chelsea was that they've had more completed passes in the final third than any other team this season. So they are going to play at United, and I just cannot see United keeping a clean sheet, even if they wanted to. I just can't see it happening.
It could be a bit Beauty and the Beast, couldn't it? Because from what I've seen of Chelsea this year, I really like the look of them. I think they're playing some really nice stuff. We talk about players on here, sometimes that players I really like the look of, but might not necessarily be FPL assets. Well, I really like Jorginho. He's an absolutely quality player. He's not really an FPL asset, right, because he's that playmaker at the back.
Yeah.
But he looks class, and he's the one that makes them tick. He's Sarri's brain on the pitch. And yeah, he's the one that gives them that momentum going forward. So,
and he's probably the reason why Hazard is as good as he is this season.
Well, I think Sarri has freed up Hazard to go and do what Hazard does. He's not having to track back anymore, whereas Conte had this feel about him where, all right, push forward, I want you to attack, but also don't forget you've got some defensive duties. Whereas I think Sarri's looked at Hazard and gone, right, he's the jewel in my crown. He has obviously gone straight into the club and gone, he is by far my best player. Only is Hazard is world class, and the others are they're very, very good players, but Hazard is world class. He's obviously gone in there, Sarri, in the summer and gone, right, I need to protect him. And if you remember, I don't think Hazard played maybe the first 2 or 3 game weeks, and no one got him in their FPL teams, and anyone that did have him transferred him out. And I think what Sarri was doing was saying, well, you do need a rest. A lot of players come back from the World Cup, like Kane, and didn't get a rest. He's gone, well, Hazard's my crown jewel, and need to rest him for a few weeks. Come what may, whatever the results in the first few weeks, I'm going to rest him. And now that rest is paying dividends because he's had a break, had a bit of a pre-season of sorts, and he's not having to do the tracking back as you were saying. So
and then so the only other thing I have to say about him really, we all know how good Hazard is. I think for me, I sort of ruled him out of the captaincy. Just because it was against United. And then the more you look into how well Hazard is playing and how poorly United are defending so far this season, the more you start to question whether that's a good decision to just rule him out of captaincy just because of the opposition. And I'm not sure that it's a straight cut anymore as going, he's playing United, that's a much harder game than, say, Salah against Huddersfield or Aguero against Burnley. Yes, the fixture is a lot tougher, but the form that he's on, the number of chances created, the opportunities that he is getting this season means that even with opposition like Man United, because of the way they defend, I don't necessarily think that should be a counter to...
I think if this Chelsea and United game was last week when Liverpool played City, and you were kind of unsure, you didn't really want to captain anybody from Liverpool or City, then I'd be going on Hazard again at home to Manchester United. But given that Liverpool got a nice fixture, given that City have got a lovely home game against Burnley, given that United on their day can be resolute and can man mark players out of the team. Now I'm with you guys in the live chat. I still think that Chelsea are going to win that, but on their day, United can cause problems. Don't underestimate Jose, and because of that, I don't think you want to captain Hazard. Very happy to have him in my team, but don't want to captain him. Another player that I'm happy to have in my team for now is Marcus Alonso. So have you still got Marcus Alonso?
Of course.
Okay, so I think he had a price rise up to about 7 now, so he's maybe even broken the 7 barrier. A lot of talk on Twitter about people saying, well, he's not quite as forward thinking as he was before, and perhaps some of the returns he's got this year have been a little bit inverted commas lucky. So should we be paying 7 million for this guy? Should we be keeping patience, or have we got too much money tied up in him?
Well, I think if you remember back to last season, he started the game in this sort of territory, didn't he? 7 million territory, and with Alonso, you do have weeks where he doesn't do anything, but then you have other weeks where he'll keep a clean sheet and get you a couple of goals or get you a few assists. And, you know, yes, he's not as forward-thinking, but if you think back to the game last time, Gameweek 8, there was a few opportunities there where he should have and could have easily converted. So, yeah, for me, it's too premature to be thinking about losing Alonso. He's the sort of player that when I don't have him, it haunts me.
Let's have a look at the Chelsea fixtures too, because I don't think they look too bad either. It's the United game, then it's Burnley, Palace, Everton, which is, I mean, look at those. There's 3 of the next 4 there, and even the Burnley away game is a nice game. 3 of those next 4 at home. Even the United game, despite what we've just said, you know, you like to think Chelsea can win that. And then Palace and Everton at home, those 2 in particular look great. I mean, for Alonso, he's probably going to keep clean sheets in 10, 11, 12. Away at Spurs is a different proposition. Plus, then, you know, that's the international break, isn't it? I think between 12 and 13. So, again, we've got to see who comes back from the international break and in what shape they come back for that Chelsea and Spurs game. But for the next 4, because to be honest, that's how I'm kind of looking at the game right now. It's just in blocks of 4 in between international breaks, because that's kind of how we have to look at it. Or certainly how I look at it. So the next block of 4, United, Burnley, Palace, Everton, with 3 of them at home, looks very, very good for Chelsea, and I will be keeping Alonso for sure. Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. So that's Chelsea, Manchester United. Where do you want to go next? Shall we talk about?
I think can we talk about Arsenal next?
Yeah, go for it. What do you want to talk about?
Well, I find this the next most interesting game really, because you've got two sides that actually, from an FPL point of view, contain a lot of fancy assets, don't they? So
yes,
Arsenal, obviously, we've got the constant dilemmas about, you know, who do you have? Do you have Lacazette? Do you have Aubameyang, which you spoke a lot about when we were on the FPL show last week? And then there's a few in that Arsenal midfield that you potentially might want to think about. I noticed that Ozil's back in full training now.
For now.
We talked about Ramsey last week.
And his twins now, isn't he?
And he's had the babies,
Twin
boys. I mean, that sounds like a handful, doesn't it? So and Welbeck's back in training as well. I'm not sure that makes a big difference, but you know, Welbeck's back in training. So you've got those from an Arsenal point of view, and then I suppose into that category we've also got to put the defensive options in there as well, because actually there are a few, and Czech I think is going to get a last minute fitness test.
Okay, Leno's been pretty good for them, though, isn't he? To be fair, yeah.
But defensively, you know, there are a couple of defenders that you might want to think about from Arsenal. And then on the reverse of that, obviously Leicester, most people now have got Maddison.
He's a pretty popular pick, yeah.
And there's
what's your thoughts on Vardy then? So Vardy, for me, you know, has got a bit of a reputation for being a sort of top 6 killer, isn't he? You know, and the way that Leicester set up, and we saw this in the year that they won the league, they're a very good counter-attacking side, and that's why Vardy does well, because Vardy's quick. And when teams attack Leicester, he gets space in behind. That's why Vardy's got this reputation of being good against the big teams and not so good against the little teams. So with the Leicester's fixtures coming up, I mean, how do you think about those fixtures coming? Because Leicester's fixtures, as we've said before, and it's been said on Twitter a number of times, look great on paper for the next few weeks. Actually, up until sort of mid to late November, actually.
Yeah.
So is Vardy an option for you, given that, you know, actually against the so-called lesser teams, he actually, historically, might not get quite so many points. So I actually fancy him against Arsenal. I think he's got 6 in 6 versus Arsenal. Do I then fancy him against the smaller sides? I don't know. And I think we've had it on this live stream before, or on previous live streams, where you guys have said, you know, he rarely gets sort of 2 or 3 goals, Vardy. He rarely gets hat-tricks in the same way that some of the others in his price bracket might do. So Jamie Vardy, what are you thinking?
No.
Good. All right, let's move on.
No. The reason I feel that way about Vardy is so in seasons gone by, I think Vardy was a better asset than he currently is, and I think that's mostly because I don't want to double up on Leicester attacking. And Maddison feels like the right way to go about it. He's that much cheaper than Vardy. That £9 million upfront spot. You've got 2 of them in the polls with Lacazette and Firmino. You've got 2 other really good options around that price point.
What if you're looking for a differential, though? Josh Oram is saying Vardy's TSB is only 4.9, whereas Maddison, as you're saying, is very popular. So what if you're looking for a differential?
I think there's better differentials than Vardy.
Oh, really? Okay.
Not necessarily within Leicester, but I think there are better differentials than Vardy.
Okay. Ruscio is saying double up on Vardy and Maddison. It's a brave call. But for me,
I don't fancy it.
I'm not sure about the double up right now. And I think Philip Horvat is saying the same. Don't want to double up on Leicester right now. Okay.
Having said that, in this game, I see goals for both sides.
Yeah, and as Aaron is saying, if Maddison plays well, then Vardy scores. So, the double up, it's not a terrible idea.
I just think that if you've got Maddison, you don't need Vardy. If you don't have Maddison, then Vardy potentially is a good pick. Because
it's a lot of money to spend on Leicester, isn't it? You've got 9 million on Vardy and then 7 on Maddison, so 16% of your budget effectively taken up on Leicester. If they have a blank, they have a bad game. Away at Arsenal, despite what we've just said, is not exactly an easy game.
No.
And some of the other teams, can be pretty resolute down there at the bottom, the teams that they're playing. So I'm not sure I want to spend 16.
And, from a historical point of view, Arsenal have never lost a home match to Leicester. Leicester haven't won in London for 7 matches or something ridiculous.
Oh, here we go. Another great stat.
Yeah, there you go. So
Leicester haven't won in London for what?
7 matches.
Look at that. Look at that for a stat.
Yeah, and do you want an even better stat? I love this stat. So Arsenal have won more matches in October than any other side. They've won 59 matches in October and got 200 points out of it. No other sides like that. So bank Arsenal in October is what I'm saying.
Because this time last year and the year before, and historically they're good in October, even though the year before they had a completely different manager and a totally different setup.
But fundamentally the same players.
I love your stats. Absolutely brilliant.
But what I'm saying is I think Arsenal will win this game, but I don't think it'll be a clean sheet.
Here's a nice stat that's a bit more relevant than what happened last year. No top flight team has allowed more big chances than Arsenal at home this season.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I don't think it will be a clean sheet. I think that both sides will score.
Okay.
Because I think Arsenal are on good form at the moment. You can't overlook how good Lacazette's been of late.
MU Fan TV. Sam's on a flyer. Go, go, go.
You love my stats, don't you?
I love it.
Statistician Sam, mine tonight.
All right, so that's Arsenal Leicester. So I foresee goals in that game. It's going to be it's a tough one to call. I think given Arsenal's form, I think they will just about have enough for Leicester. But Leicester will certainly give a good account of themselves there. Defensively,
got to wait till Monday for that one, haven't we?
Yes, Monday night that one for sure. Yeah, absolutely. And I think defensively, I'm with you. I'm not necessarily
no clean sheets
buzzing to get on anybody there in particular. I know that Pereira scored a nice goal the other week, and Maguire did all right in the arse. I think there's some assists for Monreal and people like that. But
obviously Morgan's suspended now as well for Leicester, and that will make a difference at the back.
Well, it'll make a big positive difference when Wes Morgan is absolutely awful. I mean,
he's their captain.
Oh yeah, but he's so slow. The thought of Lacazette playing against Wes Morgan, I'd have captained Lacazette. But the fact that Morgan is out. Who knows who's coming in? I don't know Leicester well enough to know who's going to come in, but Maguire's not exactly rapid, but Wes Morgan's got the turning circle of the Titanic, isn't it? It's awful. So Arsenal versus Leicester, I think if you've got FPL assets from either of those sides, you play them. I'm definitely playing Maddison. There's a few of you guys in the live chat that were saying you're benching Maddison. Now I'm not currently. He's in my team, but I think it's a choice between either him or one of my premium defenders, actually. Maybe Doherty, who I obviously don't want to drop Doherty right now. So Maddison could be on my bench, this week. Are you going to play him? Is he going to be in your team?
I think so. Do you know what? I honestly haven't actually thought about...
Well, let's do teams a bit later.
I haven't actually thought about who's playing. Let's have a look. I haven't thought about who's actually going to play. But yeah, I think I'll be playing Maddison.
Okay, you guys are saying Johnny Evans comes in for Wes Morgan, which... frankly, I could put my nan back there with Maguire, and I think that would be an upgrade.
Yeah, I'll be playing Maddison, yeah, for sure.
Okay, are you going to put him in? All right,
yeah.
All right. So Maddison plays for you.
Why
maybe not for me, maybe not. Let's see. A few of you guys are benching Maddison and want it benching Maddison. Andrew McD, dump Fraser or Maddison to the bench. Well, let's see on Fraser's
Fraser
fitness.
Might not even play.
Let's see on Fraser's fitness. So why don't we talk about that? Bournemouth versus Southampton then. I know you guys, a lot of you in the live chat are gagging for us to talk about Liverpool and Mane, so we're going to come to that a bit later on, possibly next. But for Bournemouth versus Southampton, the South Coast derby.
Bournemouth notes back out from last week.
Down at Bournemouth. So, views on that game? How do you see it going? The way that Bournemouth are playing right now, the way that they're attacking, the way that they are just so fluid going forward, with Brooks on one side and Fraser on the other, King and Wilson doing bits up top. I can only really see a home win there. Do you see it going any other way?
No, I don't. I see Bournemouth winning, but I do see goals for both sides. I think that the way Bournemouth are playing this season, they are, like you say, they are fluid going forward, and they are attacking. All of their attacking options doing bits for them, really. Callum Wilson, since you got rid of him, looking good. Josh King, 4 goals in last 6 game weeks. I think only Hazard's got more than that.
I really want to say Wilson's never going to darken my door again.
But he will. He will. Of course he will.
He'll do it again.
And you'll jinx him again.
It'll be the same week I bring in Christensen.
Yeah. And then Brooks and Fraser, obviously the pair of them looking really good.
Brooks at 5.0 as well. I mean, goodness me. I don't know what his TSB is, but given that most people have got Fraser, I'm guessing not many people have got Brooks. So not only is he cheap, but he's a differential as well. I mean, he looks a really good option. So
they're looking really strong going forward. But at the same time, Southampton also, I mean, they've had... take City and Chelsea out of it, they've had more shots on target shots this season than anyone else. So they will attack. They will go out and attack. Now, the fact that Southampton are attacking will mean that there's space for Bournemouth to go forward. While Bournemouth are going forward, you'll see Southampton. It'll be all counter-attacks. I can see this game.
And Southampton have conceded more big chances this season, 21, than every side bar Fulham. And we talk week after week about how bad Fulham are defensively.
Yeah.
Well, next worst for big chances conceded is Southampton with 21. So I fancy Bournemouth to score a few in.
I just think that this game has got goals for both sides written all over it because there will be attack, counter-attack, attack, counter-attack all game.
Okay, all right. I think it was Tom Mason actually that was saying in capital letters, it's not a South Coast derby. Now listen, Tom, I'm as good at geography as everybody else, which is I'm terrible at it.
Well, you're better than me.
But we have people from all over the world tuning into this, right? So if
I don't think Bournemouth and Southampton are near each other.
Not really, no. Not really. So Tom is absolutely right. But if you're in Asia or you're tuning in from, I don't know, America or something, then, they are reasonably close on a map of the UK, aren't they? Can we call it a derby?
Well, no, but I remember, do you remember being in the car once and they said that we were the closest, Spurs were the closest Premier League side to Norwich and therefore we were their derby?
Yeah, but Norwich is totally different. That's way out east and nothing's near Norwich. I mean, there's not even a...
Yeah, but is it the same thing?
No, at least Bournemouth and Southampton are reasonably close together, but then in my mind.
They're the closest Premier League sides to each other is what I meant.
Probably. It's not a geography lesson, it's an FPL live stream, so let's move on. We'll take Tom.
Well, it's not not a derby. I wouldn't have said it was a derby anyway. Okay, is it a derby?
We'll move on. I will never call it a derby again. 30 miles apart, Dom J says. 30 miles apart, there we go. Mark O'Leary, it's the South Coast, you got that right, thank you. Thank you. I know that Southampton and Portsmouth, that's the real derby, isn't it? I appreciate that, but Portsmouth haven't been in the Premier League for ages. All right, let's go to Liverpool next then. Let's talk about Huddersfield versus Liverpool, the evening game for this game week in game week 9. What do you make of this game? Is it a straightforward away win? And if it is, what sort of team is left at Anfield after the ravaging that we've had over the international break in terms of injuries?
For a start,
who do you think is going to play? What's going to happen?
Well, right, okay. So, which of those questions would you like me to answer first? For a start, I think it doesn't matter who you play, you'll win.
Okay.
Huddersfield, bless them, they're useless. Like they at the moment, even at home they're not playing well, are they? So they
have got the worst XG for those of you that like the XG stat, the expected goal stat. They've got the worst XG in the league. They've conceded 17 so far this year. So I don't know what the delta is, but they've got the worst XG and have conceded 17 goals.
That's because at home they've scored no goals.
Is it no goals at home for Huddersfield? I thought that was Palace, or is it Palace
both?
And both as well? No goals for Huddersfield at home. And I think Liverpool have got the second meanest defence.
Correct.
In the Premier League. So actually, it doesn't look good for a Huddersfield goal. It looks good for a Liverpool clean sheet. Should we be doubling up on Robertson and Trent Alexander-Arnold? How do you feel about that?
Well, I don't know about the Trent one. It really worries me that he's a rotation risk. But could you double up? Could you double up on Alisson and Robbo? Yeah.
You could do, yeah, for sure. You could do.
You could, but I do want to.
For the fixtures as they are for Liverpool coming up, and the fixtures look great for Liverpool with Huddersfield. I think Cardiff are in there. I think Fulham are in there. Now, I'm not sure I'd want to double up against Fulham because they can score a goal. But against Cardiff and Huddersfield, yeah, for sure. I think I might want to double up. But the challenge you've got then is that you can't double up in attack, which is what a lot of people might want to do.
Yeah.
Having said that, we've seen some of the injuries from the international break with some of the players coming back. Now, Keita, let's not spend too much time talking about him because I think that is a hammy. That's a hamstring. It looks a little bit medium to long term. And I don't think he was in too many FPL teams anyway. Virgil van Dijk, similar, although I think he's fine. It's not a hamstring. He's got a sort of recurring rib injury, which they're kind of managing, but I think he'd be okay. The two kind of key talking points from the international break are obviously Salah and Mane, both very, very highly owned into the 40-odd% of TSB in the game. Mane, I think, actually more highly owned than Salah nowadays. The feel I've got from Twitter, the feel I've got from the likes of Ben Dinnery on Twitter and some of the guys that post about injuries, like Premier injuries, is that Salah, I think, is going to be okay. I think. Now, we obviously need to watch out for the Klopp press conference, which is coming, I think, tomorrow. Shame that we didn't get that today, but that's coming tomorrow. General feel is that I think Salah's going to be okay. But Mane is a real down to the wire. They haven't said either way right now.
The thing is, I get that, he's a footballer, right? He doesn't play with his thumb. But you can't have surgery. Surely you don't have surgery on your thumb and then there's a risk, isn't there, with that? What if you fall over again on it? What if he just lands awkwardly on it? Or gets involved in a...
So my feeling on this, guys, is that there's a lot to do with the fixture here. There's a lot to do with the fixture. So I think if we were playing Man City at home...
He'd play him.
He'd strap him up, give him a painkiller injection and say, get out there and win us that game. I think given that it's Huddersfield away, on the back of an international break, that, he did play some minutes for Senegal, clearly... he might have been considering resting him anyway, given that he's played in the international break and he's coming back and it's Huddersfield away. Not saying that's an easy game, but it's a game Liverpool should win.
And is Lallana fit?
Well, and also, Lallana is ready, apparently, yeah. And also, Firmino can play left as well. I think even Shaqiri obviously prefers the right, but can play there, I think. So, I just think, given the fixture, I've got a feeling that Klopp will use it as a reason to not play Mane. I think he will rest him.
I just think it's a. I know everyone was saying that there's only been 3 players or something that have missed a game with a thumb injury, and they've all been keepers or something. There were people were talking about.
No outfield players ever missed a game, right? With a broken thumb.
But he's had surgery on Wednesday, and the game is on Saturday. It's not, like you say, it's not a big game. Well, it is a big game. It's a Premier League game, but it's not a big, it's not a big derby, or it's not. And you've got some really important fixtures coming up with the Champions League and everything else. It just feels a bit too much of a risk to me.
So that's my view on it, guys. I mean, that's obviously not,
Let's see what
nothing
Klopp
official
says.
Because of that. That's just my feeling on it.
He's dropping again tonight, isn't he?
He is, which is really sad for me because obviously I'm a Mane owner, right? I have Mane right now.
Yeah.
And I have to think about potentially going into that Huddersfield game with no Liverpool attack because I'm going to have Robertson at the back, which I'm more than happy to keep.
He can easily get you attacking points though.
But then I'll have no Liverpool attacks against Huddersfield. Now, do I want to take Mane out? Well, probably not, because the reality is he's going to come back for Cardiff at home. I mean, you've got to have a Liverpool attack for Cardiff at home.
You couldn't get another Liverpool attack.
Well, it'd be difficult
guaranteed for the next game.
It would be difficult to go to either Salah or Firmino, which is the 2 that I would look at, without a little bit of surgery. Now, I'm happy to do that surgery. It cost me a -4 to do it because I've only got a 1 free transfer. I'm quite keen to get rid of Trippier, which we'll come to a bit later on. No, I am very keen to get rid of Trippier. So if I'd reduced Trippier to Bennett, that would enable me to do Mane to Salah. If I did Trippier to...
Bennett?
Yeah, so a double on Wolves defence, which is a very valid strategy in today's FPL world because Wolves are doing great and they're home to Watford. Or I could do Trippier to a 5.0 and get the extra couple of million that I need to do Arnautovic to Firmino. But I'm quite liking having Arnautovic right now because again I like West Ham's fixture against Spurs, which again we'll come to in a minute. And I also would rather get rid of Trippier and bring in Mendy because I really, really want to get back onto Mendy, given that he's coming back into the Man City side.
Sounds like you're having a lot of headaches over your way.
Well, I think I know that I want to get rid of Trippier, but it's for who? Who do I bring in for Trippier? And it'll be who, depending on what money I need to get on what player I want to get, if that makes sense.
Sounds like a bit of a nightmare to me.
It is a bit of a nightmare. I mean, if Mane hadn't broken his thumb, I'd be happy going into Huddersfield and Cardiff with Mane.
And you just do Mendy.
And I'd just do the Mendy transfer, yeah. Okay. Now, given that, so if he comes out in the press conference and says, no, Mane is not going to travel, or he's going to rest him, or he's going to, be cautious with his thumb or whatever, then I'm tempted to do the Salah move and get Bennett in for Trippier. If he comes out and doesn't say either way, which is probably what's going to happen, then I don't know. I think I'm probably going to stick on Mane and get Mendy. Because Mendy in is still not a bad transfer, and that's not going to cost me for -4. But listen,
it's definitely not a bad transfer.
It's all up for debate, guys. It's all up for debate. But my piece of advice would be Stay very close to Ben Dinnery on Twitter. Stay close to Premier Injuries. Stay close to the Klopp press conference tomorrow, Mane owners, because
we'll do some stuff about it.
Hope that all is going to be revealed, and even if it's not, that might still cause us a bit of a headache. So, what are your thoughts on Liverpool attacking assets for that game? Because right now you don't have any either, right?
No, I don't.
Okay, so you're thinking about Salah, Firmino, obviously not Mane, based on the news.
No, I wouldn't have got Mane anyway.
Okay.
Even if he hadn't been injured, I wouldn't have got Mane. I don't. You're not going to hit me or anything, are you? But I don't rate him.
No.
I don't.
I might just give you a look like you give me. Yeah.
I don't rate him like as a fantasy asset. I think he's really been overperforming at the beginning of the season, and I don't see it lasting. In terms of where my head is, I'm still very much in the same camp that I was at the end of game week 8, which is that my plan was Mora to Salah this game week.
You've got a ton of money in the bank, haven't you?
Yeah, 5.6 million.
Yeah,
which is exactly the money I need to do Mora to Salah. Mora to Sally? That's not right. Mora to Salah. So yeah, for me that's still on, as long as I get some positive affirmations from...
I think you'd be alright with Salah. I think you'd be okay.
Some positive affirmations from Klopp tomorrow. If I don't get positive affirmations from Klopp tomorrow about Salah, then I have a bit of a quandary.
Are you keeping Kane?
Yes.
You are keeping Kane. Why? Fixtures look very difficult.
Because I don't...
He played very well against Spain, though, didn't he, to be fair?
Played very well against Spain. Eriksen... Well, this is more of a Spurs talk. If you want me to talk about Kane, should we talk about Spurs and talk about this at the same time?
Yeah, let's move on from Liverpool, because we've covered that game. I don't think any of us are really buzzing to get on any Huddersfield FPL assets right now. And from a Liverpool perspective, it is going to be all about that press conference and what happens. So let's go.
Just to answer your quick question about Firmino before we move on to Spurs, I would get Firmino, but I am genuinely... I still think that there is a chance that Sturridge may play that game.
Well, there is absolutely, because I think Firmino played 90 minutes the other night for Brazil. So
and Sturridge was your player of the month for last month.
Yes, I saw that. Well, yeah, absolutely. So if you're bringing in Firmino, just be careful. He might get rotated, yeah.
Look, I don't know anything, but...
It's going to be Lallana, Sturridge and Shaqiri, isn't it? I think that's what's going to happen.
Could be.
Let's move on. West Ham versus Spurs then. A very, very interesting game this weekend. Let's have your thoughts, and then I'll give you my thoughts.
Okay, well, let's start with West Ham then. So I was sort of hoping that Arnie coming home early from Austria would mean that he wasn't going to play, but he's apparently fully fit and has been training, so that's
There was
annoying.
A quote to say that, yes, he's fine and he's ready and he's going to play, but there was a quote that said something like, but we've got to manage the injury, but we've got to keep an eye on the injury. Do you know what I mean? So there's this undertone of, he's fine, but at any moment this thing could flare up. So as an Arnie owner, that's a little bit disconcerting. But for the weekend, I think we're all right.
I think... Well, yeah, annoyingly, I think so.
Yeah.
I don't know. So I kind of wish we were playing West Ham 3 or 4 weeks ago when they were at the bottom of the league and pointless, because that would have been nice. But actually, West Ham have turned a corner, and I do think it'll be a difficult game. But here's another stat for you: West Ham are winless in their last 7 London derbies. Also,
right. Okay.
So I don't see them beating us. When it comes to Spurs, so as I said at the beginning of this stream, Harry Kane has scored the most away goals this season, more than any other.
Okay.
And Eriksen and Dembele are back. Now, Eriksen and Dembele, just Dembele for the time being, not a fantasy asset in any way, and please don't get Dembele based on what I'm saying. However, what Dembele offers to the side is so important in terms of how Kane plays.
He's a massive, massive player for you. There's no doubt about it. He changes that side completely.
Absolutely.
And so does Eriksen, actually, right?
Yeah. Well, Eriksen is different in himself because obviously he's more of he's an attacking player. Whereas what Dembele allows Kane to do is Kane doesn't have to drop back. So what we've seen in the last couple of game weeks when Dembele has been out is that Kane has dropped back behind Mora and Son. And Lamella, and has played much deeper role because he's the only one with any power to hold the ball up and to win back and make tackles in the midfield. With Dembele there, we won't need Kane to do that job. So Kane will have more of a forward movement focus.
Yeah.
So it makes Kane a much better fantasy asset to have Dembele back in the team.
Do you know what? I agree with something that Will Hugel is saying actually in the live chat. He's saying that the England system using Kane in a completely different way to Spurs actually, because Kane was used up front in that sort of, if you like, Firmino role, that sort of holding role with the two quick players either side of him, Rashford and Sterling. And at Spurs he's used a bit differently, where he's obviously the front man with the three behind him. I actually really liked Kane in that 4-3-3 with the two pacey players either side of him. And we've already seen how at Spurs this season, the fact that Moura plays is possibly affecting him, and the fact that they're kind of running into the same areas and stuff. That 4-3-3, if Moura could play, I don't know if Moura can play wide, but if Moura was on one side and they had another quick player on the other side, that Kane and that dynamic for England worked really well, I thought.
I actually think that Moura might not play this game.
You think? Okay.
Because with the Eriksen and Dembele back, I think Moura's played every game so far this season. We're coming up to a tough run of fixtures, and Moura in the Champions League has been really good.
It has, yes.
And I think we need him for those upcoming Champions League games now, given that we lost our first two. So for me, and Moura went and played for Brazil over the last couple of... he's been away with Brazil for international break, which he hasn't had a call-up for a while, so that's important. So, yeah, for me, I'm keeping Kane. There's a couple of reasons behind it. One, I just feel like on the back of that England game, there is some momentum behind him now. There's a confidence back in him. And with Dembele and Eriksen back in the team...
Still look way too deep in that Cardiff game, though. The way that Poch uses him is different to how Southgate uses him.
It is, but it will be different with Eriksen and Dembele in the team. 100% it will be different. It's not the same. You're not going to play in the same formation with them two as we have been over the last couple of weeks. We definitely won't. And Ali's back next week as well. So
Micah McClatchy, thank you for joining, Micah. He's saying, Sam, you're trying to break my heart with that Moura bench statement. Don't come out with things like that.
That's why I'm thinking about getting rid of him this week.
Are you? All right. And thoughts on Trippier as well, right? So Trippier's going to be coming into that back line, which is actually missing Vertonghen, who's obviously the cornerstone of that back four for Spurs.
Yeah.
Given that Eriksen's back as well, could Eriksen come back into the set piece plays a little bit more? So does that make Trippier less of an option? What do you think?
They'll go back to sharing them again. Does it make Trippier less of an option? No. Or I mean, maybe make them less like... I don't think he's going to get a clean sheet in this game. I can see Arnie scoring a goal. However, Trippier will be bombing forward again down the wing. So there's no reason why. But the Spurs fixtures after this West Ham game, it's obviously Man City. So there are a tough couple of games. So I can, as much as it pains me to say it, I can sort of understand your Trippier out comments. Okay, all right. Let's see what you guys are saying in the live chat about Spurs in general then. So... we're saying, Jasper is saying, with Spurs, I haven't seen one really, really good convincing game in the Premiership yet. So he's not convinced that he wants to jump all over Spurs. Ishan is saying Kane to score a brace this weekend. Okay, interesting. Adam Diori is saying West Ham have won 3 of their last 6 meetings with Spurs. They've got a decent record, at least in the short term. They've actually got a very good record against us. They've won more games against us than anybody else.
Okay, all right. Let's see what else you guys are saying. What about Lamela? Issam Ali is saying.
What about him?
Absolutely could play. Has looked on form, but seems to be super sub right now. Not guaranteed to start. Charlie Hayne, Moura has to play. Yeah, I think with the form he's shown this year so far, I think he possibly has to. MU Fan TV, Sam, it's for such comments that I'm always tuned in. He tunes in just to hear your comments about Spurs, MU Fan TV. There we go.
Yes, he loves it. I'm not quite sure which one, but...
Vince Chapman, imagine Liverpool kept Sterling. Ooh, yeah, that'd be good, wouldn't it? That'd be good. Imagine we kept Suarez and Sterling. That'd have been good. So, Marco O'Leary, a tough game for Spurs. I also predict it's going to be a tough game for Spurs. I appreciate that you've got a lot of positivity about your side, but I think it's going to be a very difficult game. The reason I think there's a couple of reasons. One is that I think the defence is going to be challenging, right? So you're missing Vertonghen. He's a very, very important part of that defence. Christian Eriksen and Dembele coming back are absolutely positive. There's no doubt about it. And if those two weren't coming back, I'd be going home win all the way. The fact that those two are back gives you a chance, I think. West Ham, before the international break, they had a really bad result away at the Amex, I think, at Brighton. So they've had 2 weeks to really stew on that result. They're going to want to get back, get into their stadium and give those fans something to cheer about, I think, because they were doing pretty well, and they kind of looked like, as you say, turned a corner. And then they just had that really bad result on that Friday night, wasn't it? And I just think they're going to have 2 weeks of just being annoyed about that, and they're going to want to come back, I think. So I think you're going to see a little bit of a backlash. I'm very happy to have Arnautovic, despite this injury that he seems to be carrying and that the club are monitoring. I really need to keep an eye on that. But for me, I think Spurs are in for a very, very tough game indeed. So what would I say? I think I'm going to go home win, I'm afraid. I think I'm going to go for a home win in that game. Honestly do.
I'm just going to roll my eyes at you
You're
and say nothing.
Roll my eyes. All right, let's go. Let's move on. Let's rattle through the rest of these games. We're on 54 minutes already. Man City versus Burnley. I think we're going for a home win in that game. I can't see too much to persuade me otherwise.
Do you want a random stat?
I'd love a random stat. Go on then.
Man City are unbeaten in their last 33 3pm kickoffs on a Saturday.
Where do these come from? Is there a website or something that comes up with these? Or because you can't possibly look to every Man City 3pm game for the last however long and looked at the result.
I just look up random information about each team.
That's so random. And what I love most about these stats is they've got absolutely no relevance. They are completely. Of
course they do. Basically, what I'm saying
irrelevant.
is that City will win that game because it's at 3pm on a Saturday.
It's completely irrelevant. So I've written down Burnley have shipped a league high 161 shots. That's a good stat, because that would mean that, you know, Aguero and friends will get into the sort of positions and get shots away on goal. But
yeah, I've also written that there's going to be a late fitness test for KDB,
yes,
and that Defoe could start for the first time since January.
Okay, well that's good. That's good. That's relevant to FPL. What was the first one again?
Unbeaten for the last 33 games at 3pm on a Saturday.
On a 3pm kickoff. Look
Won
at that.
29 of them and drawn 3.
Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
That can't be right, because that doesn't add up to 33. It must be drawn 4.
MU Fan TV saying, you see, Lee, what was I saying? Listen to her. Shut up, Lee. He's basically saying. Absolutely brilliant. Right, so Burnley shipped 161 shots, the most in the league.
Yeah.
I'm going for a home win, 100%. Captain, Man City assets from that game in your team. Because you haven't got Sergio Aguero right now, have you?
I've got Edison.
Your only Manchester City asset for this game week so far is Edison.
Yes.
Plans?
No, I haven't got any plans.
No Liverpool attack.
I've got plans.
No City attack.
I've got plans for a Liverpool attack. No, I don't want City attack.
That Salah and Aguero out a couple of weeks ago is looking.
I don't want City attack for against Spurs next week. So I'm not going to spend a point here to get them back in.
You are going into Man City versus Burnley. And by the way, I didn't know if you knew this, but City haven't lost a game at 3 o'clock
on a Saturday.
I didn't know if you knew that or not.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
City against Burnley at the Etihad, and you've got no City attacking.
No, because right, okay, so.
Go on.
Right, one, I don't want to take a points hit for City because there's 2 reasons for that. One is that I don't want masses of Spurs and City again for next week because that's a problem.
Okay.
The second reason is I am apprehensive about who is going to play. So I would like Sterling.
But he's just been playing international.
But he's just been playing. I'm worried
Aguero's just had a 2-week break.
I'm worried about his heel.
He's just had 2 weeks off. He's going to be fine for this game. David Silva, 2 weeks off.
But what if KDB's back?
Mendy didn't go to international break
at all. Yeah, but I don't want Mendy, and I'm not. Why am I going to get Mendy for?
Okay, all right. I'm just saying.
But okay, well, who would you? I don't think I want Mendy and Edison.
Okay. For me in this game, I'm going in obviously with Aguero. I'm looking to captain Aguero unless something really random happens. And I'd like to get Trippier for Mendy. That's my transfer I'd like to do. So I'm absolutely backing City to do well there. And despite having to go to, like you say, is it Spurs away next? I think the 2 after that look really good. Yeah, Southampton at home and Man United at home. So despite the Man United game being red there on the Fantasy Football Scout ticker, I'm reasonably happy that City are going to do a bit of a job on United. The way that United are playing now, clearly things can change in 3 or 4 weeks, but I do think City will beat United in that derby. So Burnley at home, Southampton at home, United at home. 3 of the next 4 look absolutely delicious for Manchester City. And they're at home, so you've got bona fide captain choice there with Aguero in at least 2 of those. And if we go to game week 12, let's have a look at where our other captains might come from. Where are Spurs? So let's have a look at this. So game week 12. Liverpool at home to Fulham, of course.
So I'll have
there's a
Salah.
captain there. Okay.
Where
Okay. So all right. So there are some captain choices, but for me, those fixtures for Manchester City look very, very good over the next 4. So I'd be happy to have Aguero and Mendy. Thoughts on Burnley? No thoughts. No thoughts. I don't think.
Defoe might come back.
Defoe might come back. Excellent. Excellent. All right, well, we'll leave Burnley there. Let's move on to Cardiff versus Fulham. So a lot of talk about Mitrovic in this game. A lot of talk about those players around him that are going to be creative for him, like the Viettos and the Sessegnons and indeed the Schürrlers, who seems to be the shoot-on-sight Schürrler. That's actually quite difficult and very dangerous thing to say.
What? I was just
it's
thinking.
a very dangerous thing to say.
I literally, in my head, went, he got away with that.
Shoot on sight, Andre Schürrler. The Fulham assets look great. They look a very attacking side. Away at Cardiff, I don't think is going to hold too much fear for them, I don't think. So, you thinking about any Fulham assets in this game?
No.
Okay, good. Mitrovic has got to be on your radar at the very least.
Why?
So underlying stats for one, FPL points for another, top goal scorer I think in the league for another, amazing fixtures for the next 3 or 4 for another. Not considering Mitrovic at all? Guys, come on, tell us what you think about that. No Mitrovic for Sam and not even considering it. Jatin is saying Mitrovic is my captain this week. Look at this. So Mitrovic, wow. I think, is a very, very good pick indeed.
Captain?
Maybe not as captain for this game week, but I think he looks like a very, very good pick, and I think we said that on the FPL show a couple of weeks ago when we were on there. If I was wildcarding right now, my front 3 would be Lacazette, Aguero, and Mitrovic, with the Mitrovic pick being potentially a little bit controversial, but for me, he's the one to have. He's the one to have. You guys, some of you agreeing, some of you disagreeing. They're saying it's all about Jimenez.
Yes. Yes, it's all about Jimenez.
Rushel is saying Mitrovic to Jimenez.
Yes. You're all right.
Okay, well, let's park Fulham right there then, and then go and talk about Wolves versus Watford. Now, they are playing Watford, so we cannot give them any more than 42 seconds. But let's just give a view on Wolves then. Raul Jimenez, by the way, 1 goal in the last 4 game weeks, but has got an expected goals of 2.17, so potentially is a little bit unlucky. An XG delta of 1.17, so possibly should have scored more goals than he has done. I know that you're not just a Jimenez fan, but Jimenez owner.
I am indeed.
Right, so what are your feelings about Jimenez for this week against Watford? Happy to have him, no doubt.
Yep, happy to have him. I think, I've spoken about Wolves a lot over the last few weeks. I really rate Wolves, and the points that they've scored. I think they've got 15 points or something already this season, which is the most from a promoted side in that many games. They look really good. They look solid defensively. They are very good going forward as well. Jimenez.
Do you think they're very good going forward? I think they're all right, but they don't seem to be banging in goals, but they do get some goals.
Yeah, but I don't think Wolves are the sort of team that are going to score 5 or 6 in a game. Because they don't need to. Because defensively they're solid. So they'll defend well and they'll score 1 or 2 every game. And
as you guys in the live chat are quite rightly saying, Watford are missing 3 of their key forward, 3 of their back 4, with Holebas in particular a big miss, I think.
Yeah, so, still suspended.
So there's going to be a bit of a patchwork Watford back line there. So that Jimenez could profit, right? And
Watford started the season really well, on the crest of a wave really for a long time, and it's taken a bit of a nosedive over the last few weeks. For me, this has got a Wolves win all over it. It's the first time these guys have met in the Premier League. Did you know that? First time.
Thank you for that stat. Excellent, very good.
But for me, it's a Wolves win. I'm happy to have Jimenez. Moving forward, I do understand the Mitrovic stuff. I really do, and I do think he's a good asset. But he's much more expensive than Jimenez, and I'm happy to invest my money elsewhere and have Jimenez.
Okay, all right. So let's see what you guys are saying. Benny Blanco is saying Jimenez is not prolific enough. Well, listen, Benny, at 5.5 or 5.6, whatever he is now, you're not necessarily relying on him to be that prolific. You can buy into your Agueros and your Hazards and your Salahs to be prolific. Jimenez at 5.5 doesn't need to be prolific, I don't think. Amon is saying Doherty 30-pointer incoming. Yeah, absolutely.
Not again, surely not again.
Mark O'Leary saying Holebas is a left back, Doherty's a right winger. What more do you want? Strong returns for Doherty. Captain material for Doherty this week. I'm very, very happy to have him, guys.
Joining Lee's Captain Doherty Club.
Very, very happy to have. I got laughed off this live stream for saying Captain Doherty a few weeks ago. Now you're all considering Captain Doherty. He's an absolute must-have. He's
your hero, isn't he, at the moment, Doherty?
He's a lot of people's heroes, and I think he's only owned, well, you guys can tell me what his percentage ownership is. 10, 11%, something like that, I think. So he's not exactly highly owned.
It was 11% last week when we filmed the FPL show.
Yeah, absolutely. He's absolutely fantastic. Don't need to say anything more about him other than I think you've got to look at getting him in if you haven't already. So I'm going to go for a home win there. I think Watford's defence is going to be patchwork. They're missing 3 of their 4, as we've already said. Jimenez, as you guys are quite rightly saying, if Wolves are going to score, looks to be coming from him and or Doherty. So I'm very happy to be having Doherty. 12.8% owned, Andrew McD is saying. So he's gone up in the last couple of weeks, which is not exactly a surprise. 400,000 people, Ammonit saying, has bought Doherty in this week.
There you go.
Not a surprise at all. Not a surprise. And by the way, not the only defensive option, right? Bennett's still a good option at 4-2.
And Johnny.
Patricio's still a good option. Johnny is still a good option, right? So if you want to double up on that Wolves defence, absolutely go for it. Absolutely go for it. I need to just pause just for a second because Sparky Mere has donated to the channels. So Sparky, thank you very much for doing that.
That's very kind.
No question. Just new to your videos, second viewing and like your work. Was very kind
thank
of you.
you very
Very
much.
kind of you to support the stream. Thank you. We shall put it towards the lettering on the back of the shirt.
Oh yeah.
Let's go for that because we still need to do the lettering on the back of the shirt. Thank you. Very kind of you.
So you said earlier that you were thinking about getting 2 Wolves defenders. So you've already got Doherty.
Yes.
Why Bennett over Johnny, just money-wise?
How much is Johnny?
Not that much more expensive than Bennett.
Well, the reason I was going for Bennett is that I know that he's 4-2. I don't know how much Johnny is. I don't think he's 4-2. I think he's probably 4-5 or something.
Let's check.
So if I want to do Trippier to Bennett, that's doable. If I want to get Salah, that's what I'm thinking. But you know, it's going to cost me a -4 to do it. So therefore, I'm relying on Salah to return, which of course he can do.
4-5, yeah.
4-5 Johnny, of course. So that's why I was going for Bennett for 4-2.
Okay.
Because I wouldn't have the money to do 4-5. So Wolves versus Watford, home win for me. Rattle through the last couple of games. Newcastle versus Brighton. I don't want to spend too much time here other than to say Newcastle's fixtures are absolutely awesome for quite a number of weeks. So should we be spending more time thinking about Newcastle or shouldn't we? For me, Rafa's got them well drilled at the back. You know, Andre Yedlin could come in as an option. The goalkeeper's a bit expensive. Dubravka, I think, is 5.0. Looking a bit further up the pitch, potentially Kennedy at 4.8, 4.9 if you need a bit of an enabler in the midfield. I don't think Rondon is really featuring much, or at least not in the FPL points very much so far this season. Sadly, Salomon Rondon not in the points. So I am, and there's a lot of Twitter talk about we need to get on Newcastle quickly. I'm not in for that right now. Not until I see some points and I see some points on the board and some consistency. I'm not going there with Newcastle.
No, and I agree with you because I think that there is an element always, isn't there, of fixtures and form that play out here. Now, for me, yeah, the fixtures do look really good for Newcastle. I 100% agree with that, but the form does not look good. No win so far. I've got another really funny stat.
Go for it. Have they not lost at 3 o'clock on it?
No.
Go on.
So the last time they failed to win any of the first 9 matches in
Newcastle.
the season, was back in 1898 to 99.
Oh, what a stat!
So they've got to win surely because they've not lost 9 games, not 1 in 9 since the 1898 season. So
can you come with prepared for these with every live chat?
Every Thursday.
Come up with some random, completely irrelevant chat.
But the thing is that so you talk about Newcastle who are not in good form but have good fixtures. But is this a good fixture? Because actually Brighton are coming into this game in a bit of a run of form. Glenn Murray. What somebody said about me.
Will Hugo's going unbelievable stuff. This is FPL Family Gold. MU Fan TV. Sam, you're killing me today. Whoa, he says. Just whoa.
I've just found out loads of random stuff for you.
Aaron there. Lots of very studious research from Sam. Lee, you could learn a thing or two from her. See,
I've done my
homework. You guys are absolutely
And do you know
ridiculous.
what was funny was when I was doing this, our little boy came
David Solis, we need a Sam solo stream where she brings a killer stats.
Well,
I'll go then, shall I?
When I was doing my notes earlier, I was standing in the kitchen. I was making some of them as I was making dinner, and our little boy came in and he said, "Mummy, could you just do this for me?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." And he went, so I did whatever he wanted, and he went away. And then he went, "You can go back to your homework now, Mummy."
Brilliant.
I was like,
Brilliant.
"Okay, I will." And I carried on making my fancy notes. But yeah, I think
Hashtag Sam's Stats or hashtag StatoSam. Get that trending on Twitter. It's all over the live chat right now. Get that trending. Go on, I've stopped you mid-flow.
I was going to talk about Glenn Murray. So Brighton come into this game in good form. So I'm not sure that the fixture is actually as good for Newcastle as it is on paper. Because Glenn Murray, I mean, you're the expert on Glenn Murray. You answered the question on him, didn't you? How old is he? You know that.
34, isn't he, or something? Same age as me. Everyone's saying he's a warhorse past his prime. And I'm like, I'm same age as him. Go on.
No comment.
No comment.
Yeah, 5 goals. 5 goals this season so far.
Yeah,
Only Hazard has scored more goals than him this season.
Not to be sniffed.
We were talking about Mitrovic. Maybe we should be talking about Glenn Murray.
Yeah, okay. Well, Amonit is saying Brighton have not won away this season. They're really, really bad away. So they might be alright at home, but they are bad.
But Newcastle are bad everywhere.
Well, yeah, but I can't help but think that Benitez has got to be looking at this run of fixtures and thinking, "Goodness me, we got to kick on, haven't we? We got to kick on."
Yeah,
and
if they're going to kick on, players to kick on. Has he got the team?
Yes, I think he has.
Has he?
I think he has. I mean, you look at some of the players. I mean, if he can start getting the best out of some of these players, like Kennedy, right? A lot of you guys in the live chat saying about Kennedy. Now, my view on Kennedy, he's a bit of a flash Harry, right? He just turns up in the big games, away at Old Trafford. Yeah, great score, lovely goal. But in the games where they're playing like Brighton at home, he just drift through it, and he just sort of might turn up and get an assist, but probably will just get 2 points. So I'm not, until I see some consistency from Kennedy, I'm not going there. But you can't sniff at that price. 4.8, 4.9. If you need him as an enabler, someone that might just get you a few points over the next few, given that the fixtures look nice, then yeah, I can see why it'd be attractive for sure.
All right, let's forget that and move on to about Everton and Palace.
Last game, I think, to cover. Last game, Everton v Palace. We need to run through it reasonably quickly. Thoughts?
I'm going to say something I don't normally say, and I think Everton will win this game.
Okay.
I think, for me, there's been a change in Everton over the last couple of weeks. Sigurdsson seems
in
to
particular,
be, yeah, seems to have had a real win. If you look at I was going to say look at the stats. If you look at the data for the first 4 game weeks versus the second 4 game weeks for Siggy, he's like a totally different player from what we had at the beginning of the season to what we have now.
Versus Richarlison, though, so for a price of a Richarlison plus a bit more in your back pocket.
Yeah.
Because I think he's $1 million less than Siggy. Richarlison now playing in that centre, appears to be.
But is he?
Favourite in that? Well, he appears to be.
Well, let's see what happens this game week, because he did last time.
He's already done more in one
he?
game than Tosin's done in 6, right?
Well, that is true. That is
for me, and again, it goes back to the point, which is, we said it, I think, last week or maybe the week before, what sort of team does Silva want here? Does he want the big man up front, Tosin, who's not exactly that big, but does he want that sort of ball winner and bring the other guys in? Or does he want that fluidity and that dynamic and that sort of in on the off the shoulder defender's shoulder that Richarlison offers? I don't know. And the fact that he's changing suggests that even he doesn't really know what the best sort of setup or system is. But needless to say, Everton did perform pretty well with Richarlison in that number 9 role last game week. I think he's going to stick with it, certainly for this game week. And I think Richarlison will do well. So I'm more than happy to have him and not going on Siggy.
Okay, another random bit of stat for you that actually is linked to FPL this time. So this game...
Whoa, hold on. A stat that's linked to FPL. Go on.
Yeah, so this fixture actually has a very high percentage of penalties in it. So 15% of the goals scored between these two sides are penalties. Mm-hmm. So 7 out of 48 goals between them.
48, look at that.
So it's worth investing in or looking at the penalty takers in this game.
Let's see. Jaffet Jacob is saying, is Walcott an option with a load of crying emojis? Let's not even go there.
Let's either get Siggy or get Richarlison or get no one.
Absolutely. Georgiev, I think I've said that right. Hopefully I have, Georgie. Zaha injured, ? So what is going on with Zaha? Is he an option? Is he not? I mean, for me, he's just not right now. There's so many other good options in that bracket and he's so criminally off form, isn't he? I'm not sure whether his head's quite right in terms of, ever since that statement about I need protection, I'm getting fouled too much, I don't know, he's just not felt quite right, is he, Zaha?
No. And it's a real shame because when Zaha doesn't play, Palace don't play. and
Yes.
he is absolutely the man at Palace, and they don't have anyone else that steps up to that position when Zaha is having an off day, and that's a worry for me as a fantasy owner with any other Palace asset. So alright, I've got Wan-Bissaka, and I'm happy to have Wan-Bissaka purely because he's cheap and he just sits on my bench. If I don't want to play him, it doesn't matter.
And actually, I think given the fixtures, he might see a lot of the bench actually going forward. Everton away, Arsenal, Chelsea, Spurs, Man United. It doesn't get much more difficult than that for Palace. So I certainly wouldn't be drafting in the likes of Zaha on the back of that. And I think
if
Wan-Bissaka is going to see a lot of bench over the next few weeks.
But that's okay at that price. But with if I had Zaha going into this game week, I think I'd lose him on the basis that I wouldn't want him across the next 4 game weeks. And I don't really fancy Palace going into this Everton game. I don't see them getting much joy at Everton this week. And Zaha is in that price bracket where, you know, there's the straight transfer to Arnie is on. There's others in that bracket. There's Mitrovic in there. There's, if you can save a bit of money and go down to Jimenez, if you've got
Wilson,
a bit of money,
right?
There's Wilson and King. There's so many of them in that sort of price bracket. Even Glenn Murray, if you want to go there.
Yeah.
You know,
Don't forget Glenn Murray.
Don't forget Glenn Murray. There's a lot of them in that price bracket that you could easily swap Zaha for. And the way that Palace are at the moment, I would be doing that.
All right. Okay, very good. All right, so I'm going to go home win there. I'm going to go for an Everton win. And the one player that we're going to seamlessly transition to... Well, let's do teams first. We'll do jammy picks in a bit. But one player that I would look out for in that game who I think is going to get a start is Bernard in this game. We've mentioned him before. I know a couple of you guys in the live chat were talking about Bernard. Like the look of this guy. When he first came on as a sub a couple of weeks ago, I thought, blimey, he looks small and a bit sort of weedy. But actually put himself about. No, I'm just stating a fact. He looked, didn't look as bulky as perhaps some other players do, but looked tricky, low centre of gravity. That sort of Louis Garcia sort of player. For those of you that can remember as far back as Louis Garcia, yeah. So there's him. There's not going to compare Bernard to Coutinho, but he's in that sort of mould. Little tricky, stronger than you think. He's not really a Mora. But yeah, could be good. So if I was going to go for a jammy pick this week, I'd go Bernard. Everton at home to Palace.
Okay.
Let's talk about our teams very, very quickly then before we go on to jammy picks and captain picks and stuff. Here is my team for the game week as it is. This is my...
Made a transfer yet?
As the cheaters would say,
you said that
my bus team. This is the bus team. So goalkeepers, not very happy with this game week. I've got 2 goalkeepers, neither of which I think are going to keep a clean sheet. But of the 2, I think the lesser of 2 evils might be Foster. My back 4, I think, picks itself. Trippier is probably going to become Mendy, depending on news from press conferences and stuff over the next 24 hours. I'm backing Fraser to be fit. I know that he kind of... picked up an injury, but last time he picked up an injury on international duty, he came back and got 2 goals and assists, 18 points. So let's wait and see what Eddie Howe says about Fraser. But I think he's going to be okay. Clearly Hazard is going absolutely nowhere, and I'm happy with Richarlison too. Aguero and Arnautovic up top, pretty happy with that. So it's that question mark. It's that bit over the left there. It's whether Fraser starts. It's whether Mane gets a start. But this is why, when I wildcarded a few weeks back, it's for game weeks like this where I don't want to start taking points hits if I don't really have to. Mane, even if he doesn't play this game week, I think will be back for the Cardiff game next week. So I'd like to have him for that if I can. Would I be unhappy if Maddison came on for Mane this game week? Well, no, because I think Leicester can do all right against Arsenal, and Arsenal concede a lot of efforts on goal, and he's on set pieces, etc., etc. So I wouldn't be unhappy if Maddison came in. So that's where I am with the team. No transfers made yet, but the one I'm likely to make, guys, is Trippier to Mendy. That is the one that looks on for me this game week. Let's talk through yours. Where are you? Sitting pretty at the top of our private league, aren't you?
No, I don't think so.
Second. All right. Oh, John's at the top. Very good. Okay, so this is your team
it's
result from last week. So any changes to this that you've made for this game week?
No, because I looked... I've been looking at I've been looking at Fix and watching the transfer, watching the price rises. And there hasn't been very many actually, has there? But I've just left them as they were for game week 8. So
triple Spurs away at West Ham. Yeah.
Well, I won't have triple Spurs because if the news comes back that Salah's fit, then Moura will go for Salah.
Okay.
If there's any doubt that Salah isn't fit, then I'll probably end up with Aguero in.
Okay.
Instead.
Backline looks pretty good.
Backline is
all
fine.
All the main bases covered, yeah. I think so.
Happy with Maddison and Hazard. Fraser. I need to decide what I'm doing with Danny Ings this week. I kind of feel like I should play Danny Ings this week.
Away at Bournemouth, right? So, tricky little game for Ings.
Yeah, but they have had 116 shots in the Premier League, which is more than any other team, bar City and Chelsea.
And Ings' XG, his expected goals was 2.43 for the last 4 game weeks, which is only bettered by Salah at 2.44. So Ings has got, 1 goal, but the XG says 2.43, so potentially a little bit unlucky. Yeah. And when I say unlucky, I mean rubbish, because that miss he missed against Chelsea was awful, so he should really have 2 goals there.
So I won't have Spurs, I won't have 3 Spurs going into game week 9. They're just there still at the moment while I decide what my transfer will be.
Because, you had 3 going into the Cardiff game.
It was for the Cardiff game.
Yeah.
That was all. So I think it's going to be more to Salah. And then I've just got to decide who misses out, because I do think I want to play Ings. So I've just got to decide who misses out for Ings.
Okay. Captain this week?
Likely to be Salah.
Salah or Aguero, I guess, whichever one you bring in.
Or Aguero, depending upon who comes in.
So whoever comes in will get the armband for you.
Probably. I really do fancy Kane to do something against West Ham, but I'll probably put it on Salah or Aguero.
Okay, very good.
One of them will
Don't
be
fancy Sterling in there? More to Sterling, as MU Fan TV is saying?
I do fancy Sterling as well. Yeah, I do. I look at... So the issue with Man City for me is that the fixtures are a little bit up and down, whereas the Liverpool fixtures, there's 2 really nice ones on the bounce. So
yes, absolutely,
that's why I fancy Salah more than Sterling. It's not necessarily because I don't fancy Sterling.
Okay, all right. Well, let's move on. So it's Aguero captain for me. It's going to be Aguero or Salah, depending on who you bring in for you.
Yeah.
Let's talk jammy picks then. So before we go to the community and talk about who you guys are going for as your crazy under 5% owned FPL differentials, talk me through who yours are, who's your shortlist, and who you're going for.
Well, I was going to have Sigurdsson, but then I knew you'd go mad and say, I have Sigurdsson, he's FPL royalty.
Is he under 5%, Sigurdsson?
Yeah.
Is he really?
Yes, he is, 4.4.
Wow, okay.
So I'm actually going to go for Sessegnon.
Okay.
3% owned, 6.1 million if you're interested in how much it'll cost you. So there's a couple of reasons behind it. The threat and creativity stats look promising. Playing against a very poor, or a team that has been poor defensively, not great this season.
Sure, yeah.
Sessegnon has scored a goal in each of his 4 matches against Cardiff that he's played in.
Okay,
so he likes to score against them.
Yeah.
So he's my jammy pick this week.
Very good. All right. I think Fulham are going to be. I think the Fulham players could be good jammy picks, could be good differentials this week. I'm backing Mitrovic to do pretty well. A lot of you guys in the live chat are saying Schürrle. Absolutely, shoot on sight, Schürrle. I'm not going to keep saying that. Shaqiri is my pick. MU Fan TV is saying, yeah, absolutely. Siggy is 5.2. Mark O'Leary is saying you can't have him.
He wasn't. He wasn't when I looked him up. He was 4.4 when I looked him up.
Leo, thank you for joining, Leo. He's saying, I'll go Andros Townsend. Oh, I love these jammy picks. Let's go to Twitch and see what some of you guys were saying. So FPL Spy at FPL_Spy_ was saying Bernard, so he's backing me with the Bernard jammy pick. I like that. FPL Physio at FPL_Physio there was saying...
He's right, it's 5.1 now, Siggy.
Can't have him. Can't have
Well, I wasn't going to have him anyway. I was having Siggy.
Okay.
I was having Sessegnon, so we were okay.
FPL Physio is saying Camarasa, 4.5 from Cardiff. 4 goal attempts, 6 chances created in the last 2 game weeks up against a leaky Fulham defence.
Do you know, Josh was talking to me about him, and I thought he was a real interesting pick. But actually, there's real good statistics behind it.
Absolutely, and maybe even Josh Murphy. I mean, is he... Yeah, could potentially. I mean, Cardiff could get something finally against that Fulham defence. Anyone can score against Fulham, surely. So if Cardiff are going to score, and is it at Cardiff or at Fulham?
It's at Cardiff.
So surely they've got to get off the mark at some stage. They've got to get some points. Let's see what else you guys are saying. Jeff was saying at Thunder66 UK Sturridge ? Yeah, well, we've already talked about him coming in potentially for a jet-lagged Firmino. That could happen. Amonit on Twitter was saying hashtag Jammy Pick Muto 5.7, like that, owned by 0.1.
Oh,
and
what
playing
a
Brighton
jammy
at
pick.
home. So that is a nice Jammy Pick. Scored a really nice goal against Man United, although the defending left a little bit to be desired. But still, Muto in a Newcastle side that really need to get a result at home to Brighton,
They definitely
with
need a
some
result.
nice fixtures coming up. Like that, Amonit. Like that. Very, very jammy.
It's real jammy.
Tarek Amara, Schürrle again, yeah, absolutely. FPL Ant is saying Felipe Anderson for West Ham at home to Spurs. What else are we saying? FPL Red Eagle, at FPL Red Eagle, hashtag Jammy Pick Kennedy, who we've mentioned before. So a bit of love for Newcastle actually on the Jammy Pick front. A bit of love for them. S2 at Stuart Bad Knee is saying Ramsey and Murray, who we've mentioned already tonight, but also Brooks as well. Brooks, I think because of the Fraser love in the last few weeks, Brooks is going a little bit under the radar, but I think 2 in 2 for him and some pretty good performances. So, yeah, why not? 5.0 and very, very low ownership, so could be very, very good.
I've got to look up what his ownership is now.
I think it's pretty low. And let's see what else you guys are saying.
Yeah, 1.2.
Diraj is saying if he gets a chance, Riyad Mahrez, TSB 1.9%. Yeah, the forgotten man. He's saying hashtag forgotten man.
Desperate for that transfer, wasn't he? Just sits on a bench.
His time will come. I think Mahrez's time will come. I really believe that. And last but not least, at J_C_07 is saying, is Izquierdo fit? Is he coming back? Your favourite?
He is fit.
Okay, very good.
Got to love a bit of Izzy.
Izquierdo could be coming
Izzy
back.
and Millie might score a penalty this week. You never know. There's high penalties in that game.
Izzy and Millie. Remember that from last season? Izzy and Millie.
They did the business for me at the end of last season.
Last 2 game weeks, they were unreal, by the way.
Yeah.
Unreal. This year, not so much. Not so
Well,
much.
Izzy's been injured, hasn't he?
He's
not
been injured,
fit.
but Millie's been... They're not really had any penalties, have they?
They're not any penalties.
So the only way he's going to score any points.
Palace basically haven't been a team so far this season. I don't know what's going on there.
All right, guys, that is...
The polls.
That is pretty much... Oh, the polls, of course. The polls where Alonso is surely going to win because he's in there twice. Let's have a look. Here we go. There's polls there. Right, guys. Game week 9 captain. Would you like to answer?
Okay, dear.
As long as the answer's not Alonso, you can have whatever answer you want. Game week 9 captain. Aguero, Sterling, Salah, Hazard or Lacazette?
Likely to be Salah.
Likely to be Salah, okay. 21% of you, of the community, going with Salah. 57% going Aguero. 57. So he's first. Salah second with 21. Sterling third with 10. The captaincy's got to come from one of those games, isn't it? Liverpool or Man City.
I think so.
Isn't it?
I think
got
so.
to. Then Lacazette at 7 and Hazard in 4. 4% for Hazard. The man in form at home on penalties. All right, a few United fans voting, I think. Must have premium defender now. Would you like Robertson, Trippier, Mendy, Alonso or Alonso?
At the moment,
Can't believe I put it in.
for me, it's Robertson.
Robertson is the must-have premium defender. 61%.
I like the fact that people are voting for Alonso twice.
Oh, guys,
add them together.
5% of you still voted for the second Alonso. So Robertson, overwhelmingly the favourite there. 61% for Andy Robertson. And given the fixtures coming up for Liverpool, given the opposition don't score a lot of goals, and Robertson's attacking potential, I think you're absolutely spot on, guys, to go with Robertson. And that's not me with any red goggles on. I think he's an absolutely great option for the next few weeks. Alonso comes in next. Alonso, the first anyway, comes in next with 20%. And then Mendy at 9%. So a few of you guys sort of maybe tentatively going for Mendy. I'm quite happy to get back in on that early, I think. The second Alonso gets 5% and then Trippier at 2%. So overwhelmingly, it's the Liverpool man that comes out on top there. KDB in, yes or no, or wait and see?
Not yet.
Wait and see?
Yeah, because he's it's too. I don't know if he's fully fit yet, and it's Spurs next.
Okay. Your thoughts are shared with the community. 86% of you saying wait and see. So I think we'll ask that question again next week and see what happens.
Before Spurs?
Well, let's see. I mean, if he
I'm
plays...
going to that game, buzzing for that.
Are you going to that game?
Wearing this.
Okay. So if if he comes back in against Burnley and gets maybe a goal or maybe a couple of assists, he's going to be back on people's radars. But for now, 86% of you saying wait and see, 7% saying no, and only 6% saying yes. The best 9 million forward, Vardy, Firmino or Lacazette? Lacazette, okay. Yes, 60%. 60% going Lacazette. 32% saying Vardy and only 7% saying Firmino. So
interesting.
You guys going with the man on form, which is very, very difficult to argue with.
Did you notice that I went for an Arsenal player there? Could it just be noted?
Very good, yes, very good. Yeah, well, I think he's a great option. Absolutely great option.
He is a great option.
The fixtures for Vardy look good. The fixtures for Firmino look good. But yeah, you can't argue with that. He's the man on form. He's the man on form. Guys, thank you for joining. Thank you for joining. That was a bumper edition. We're at 1 hour 28, which is.
We've never been talking for an hour and a half.
We have, but I've missed it. I've genuinely missed the live streams. I've missed FPL. I'm getting annoyed.
For a whole football match.
I'm getting annoyed about how often these international breaks are coming around. It's this stop-start season is just annoying me. This Nations League can do one as far as I'm concerned.
But we're winning.
I don't even know what it is. What do you get if you win the Nations League? Do you? Well, what about the European qualifiers? What about the actual qualifiers?
Well, they exist as well.
So what's that? I just blows my mind. I don't understand it. I probably would like it more if Liverpool players came back unscathed. I think I would be a bit more up for Nations League.
But Milner's okay, so just be relieved about that.
The guy's a machine. The guy's an absolute machine. They'll be getting him back to St George's Park, won't they? Be back in that England team any minute, won't he? Surely. I think he's retired, isn't he?
What, Milner for England? Is that what you're?
He needs to get back in there, doesn't he? Yeah, if Southgate called him, and Southgate should call him.
You don't right, okay. So surely, as a Liverpool fan, you don't want him to call him because your players get injured all the time on
You're
international
absolutely
break.
right. You're absolutely right, guys. We are out of time, and we haven't even talked about Ross Barkley and how good he was for England.
Unbelievable!
Very good.
What a call up he had.
Very, very good. Can he keep Kovacic out of that Chelsea side?
Well, it's giving him a run for his money.
He is. I think Ross Barkley's one to look out for, guys. But let's wait to see how he performs. So, guys, that is it. Good luck with Game Week 9. And thank you for joining us. Hit that like button before you go. We've got 241 of you watching. So if everybody go and hit that like button before you left, we would have 241 likes, which would be amazing. Probably be a record for this video. Maths. So that is me doing my great maths. And if you're new around here, hit that subscribe button. We'd love you to do that. Hit the little notify bell as well, so that when we come back live on Sunday evening, you'll get a little push notification on your phone. You'll know when we're live. You'll get alerted to all of our stuff. At FPL Family on Twitter. At FPL Family on Instagram for Sam. And Facebook. Do we even dare ask how the Facebook's going?
Oh, I forgot about it.
Can you stop promoting the Facebook, please? Because it's rubbish.
I'm trying really hard to remember. Right, this weekend I will post properly on Facebook.
This is the week that Facebook takes off for FPL Family. Until then, Twitter, Instagram, at FPL Family. We will see you Sunday night, 8 p.m. in our regular slot. Thank you very much for joining, and we will see you then. Cheers, guys.
Green arrows, guys. Bye.